Good day, everyone. I am Abigail Ganados. I belong in Group 2, and our topic is all about the heroic death. And I will be discussing some important details of the Diary of Rizal, including the important life events of Rizal before his execution.
A Martyr's Last Homecoming. Day by day, since leaving Barcelona on Tuesday, October 6, 1896, Rizal conscientiously recorded the events in his diary. He was given a good cabin in the second class, and although strictly guarded, he was courteously treated by the army officers. Rizal wrote in his diary that says, "The officer in duty seems amiable, refined and polite, consistent with the seriousness of his duty." On October 8, a friendly officer told Rizal that the Madrid newspapers were full of stories about the bloody revolution in the Philippines and were blaming it for him. He wrote in his diary that says, "I believe that what God is doing to me is a blessing, allowing me to go back to the Philippines in order to be able to destroy such accusations." Confiscation of Rizal's diary. On October 11, before reaching Port Said, Rizal's diary was taken away and was critically scrutinized by the authorities. Nothing dangerous was found in its contents. The cabin was searched thoroughly, but nothing incriminating was found. On November 2, the diary was returned to him. Owing to the interruption, Rizal was not able to record the events from Monday, October 12 to Sunday, November 1. Speaking of this incident, Rizal wrote on his diary, Monday, November 2. Today, they returned to me this notebook, which they took away of the 11th of last month before reaching Port Said. For this reason, my diary was interrupted. Rizal's arrival in Manila. On November 3, the colony reached Manila, where it was greeted with wild rejoicings by the Spaniards and friars because it brought more reinforcement and military supplies. While the Spanish community was exulting with joy, Rizal was quietly transferred under heavy guard from the ship to Fort Santiago. On November 20, the preliminary investigation began. Rizal, the accused, appeared before the judge advocate Colonel Francisco Olive. He was subjected to a grueling 5-day investigation. He was informed of the charges against him. He answered the questions asked by the judge advocate, but he was not permitted to confront those testified against him. On December 11, the information of charges was formally read to Rizal in his prison cell. With his counsel present, he was accused of being the principal organizer and the living soul of the Filipino insurrection, the founder of societies, periodicals, and books dedicated to fomenting and propagating ideas of rebellion. On December 15, Rizal wrote a manifesto to his people appealing to them to stop the necessary shedding of blood and to achieve their liberties by means of education and industry. The manifesto was written in his prison cell at Fort Santiago. Rizal's saddest Christmas. December 25, 1896 was Christmas. On that day, all Christendoms joyously celebrated the birthday of Christ, who was born to redeem mankind and to bring peace and brotherhood to all men on earth. But Rizal himself, found alone and depressed in a dreary prison cell. Truly, the Christmas of 1896, his last on earth, was the saddest in Rizal's life. He was in despair, for he had no illusions about his fate, brooding over his hopeless case. At 8 o'clock in the morning of December 26, 1896, the court-martial of Rizal started in the military building called Cuartel de España. Seated behind a long table were the 7 members of the military court, dressed in their respective army uniforms. On December 28, Polavia approved the decision of the court-martial and ordered Rizal to be shot at 7 o'clock in the morning of December 30 at Bagumbayan Field, now called as Luneta. Last hours of Rizal. December 30, 1896. At 3 o'clock in the morning, Rizal heard Mass, confessed his sins, and took Holy Communion. At 5:30 in the morning, he took his last breakfast on earth. After this, he wrote 2 letters, the first addressed to his family and the second to his older brother. At 6 o'clock in the morning, as the soldiers were getting ready for the death march to Bagumbayan, Rizal wrote his last letter to his beloved parents. Rizal's letter states, "My beloved father, pardon me for the pain with which I repay you for sorrows and sacrifices for my education. I did not want, nor did I prefer it. Goodbye, father, goodbye. To my very dear mother, Senora Doña Chedora Alonso, 6 o'clock in the morning, December 30, 1896. Jose Rizal." The death rattles of the drums filled the air. Above the drum beats, the sharp command fire was heard, and the guns of the firing squad barked. Rizal, with supreme effort, turned his bullet-riddled body to the right, and fell on the ground dead in the morning, and he died in the bloom of manhood, aged 35 years, 5 months, and 11 days.
Before I will start my discussion, let me tell you first how La Liga Filipina started. Almost simultaneously with the introduction of Masonry in the Philippines, a civic society called La Propaganda was established. Its members, composed mostly, if not exclusively, of the middle class, contributed money to defray the expenses of the Filipino reformers in Spain, who were waging a campaign to obtain political concessions from the mother country. The funds collected were forwarded to the Hispano-Filipino Association. In time, however, the funds of the organization were malversed, and the society passed out of existence. At this juncture, Rizal stepped into the picture and proposed the founding of another civic society. He had prepared a constitution for the society while at Hong Kong, and now he thought that the time has come for concrete action. On the night of July 3, 1892, at the house in Tondo, Rizal founded and inaugurated La Liga Filipina. Good afternoon, classmates. Good afternoon, Mami Chavez. I am Guanne M. Lamor, a BSA student, and I'm going to tackle about La Liga Filipina. On July 3, 1892, Rizal attending a meeting with several Filipinos at home of Doroteo Ogjongco. Among these were Apolinario Mabini, Andres Bonifacio, Pedro Serrano, Jose A. Ramos, Deodato Arellano, Agustin de la Rosa, Ambrosio Salvador, and other patriots. In the meeting, Rizal explained that the Liga was a civic league of Filipinos whose desire was to establish a role in the socio-economic life of the people. The aims of the Liga Filipina: first, to unite the whole archipelago into one compact and homogeneous body. Second, mutual protection in every want and necessity. Third, defense against violence and injustice. Fourth, encouragement of education agriculture, and commerce. Fifth, study and application of reforms with the motto Unus Instar Omnium, or one like all. Duties of the Liga Filipina members. First, obey the order of the Supreme Council. Second, help in recruiting new members. Third, keep in strictest secrecy the decisions of the Liga authorities. Fourth, to have a symbolic name which he cannot change until he become president of his council. Fifth, report change to the fiscal anything that he may hear which affects the La Liga. Sixth, to behave well as benefits a good Filipino. And seventh, help fellow men in any ways. As the La Liga gained favorable audience on that same night, new officers of the league were elected. Ambrosio Salvador as president, Agustin de la Rosa as fiscal, Bonifacio Arevalo as treasurer, and Deodato Arellano as secretary. As Rizal was arrested and deported to Dapitan, the Liga became inactive until, through the decisions of Domingo Franco, Apolinario Mabini, and Andres Bonifacio, they reorganized the society. At first, the La Liga pledged support for La Solidaridad and the reform it advocated. But as the group, they led by radical ranks, some of its members opted to be inactive because they are afraid that they would be arrested and deported. So that's why they will not be an active member of the Liga, because they are afraid for the consequences that they will face if they still continue to be a member of the organization. Because of the division, the La Liga members split into two groups, the Cuerpo Compromisarios and Katipunan, which the latter was under the leadership of Bonifacio. With this shift, it also changed its ideal peaceful means to armed revolution. So this is a time when the revolution started that was led by Bonifacio, the bloody fight, shall we say. Bonifacio's idea of separation from Spain had been conceived by the masses as the only solution, which later on Marcelo H. Del Pilar adhered to Bonifacio's remedy, and the secret society attracted memberships all over the archipelago. So that would be all. I hope you gained something from my report, and thank you very much. Stay safe and God bless us all. Thank you.
Pleasant afternoon to everyone watching. My name is Cyrene Isis.
And I will be continuing the report about Rizal's time in Dapitan. During Jose Rizal's time, the Spaniards already had their fair shares of adversaries, including the Bangsamoro people, or otherwise known as the Moro people. This group of persons were so troublesome that the Spanish prepped the Zamboanga Peninsula's defense to be ready for their assaults. Together with the situation was the setting up of Catholic missions, which made the Jesuits the heralds of these missions in this part of the Philippine archipelago. And at every coast of an important village, one could see mission houses and churches. Dapitan happened to be the center of these undertakings. On July 17, 1892, the steamer Cebu has arrived in Dapitan with Rizal and a letter from Father Pablo Pastels, a superior of the Jesuit Society, on board. The letter contained the conditions given by Father Pastels to Father Obac for Rizal to be allowed to live in the parish convent. It included that he must publicly retract his errors concerning religion and make statements that were clearly pro-Spanish and against revolution, perform the church rites and make a general confession of his past life, and conduct himself in an exemplary manner as a Spanish subject and a man of religion. Rizal did not agree to these terms declared, so he lived with the Spanish commandant Ricardo Carnicero for a while. On September 21, 1892, Jose Rizal, Captain Carnicero, and businessman Francisco Equilor won a government-owned lottery's second prize of 20,000. With 6,200 shares, Rizal gave 2,000 to his father and 200 to Jose Basa in Hong Kong, and used the rest in acquiring a parcel of land near the town plaza and agricultural land in Talisay, where he built a house, a school, and a clinic. In his letter to Ferdinand Blumentritt, he talked about his life in Dapitan. I shall tell you how we live here. I have 3 houses, one square, another hexagonal, and a third and an octagon, all of bamboo and nipa. Rizal transformed Dapitan not only aesthetically, but also in terms of sanitation. Aside from providing a lighting system, he drained the marshes, lessened the incidence of malaria that infested the place, and also constructed a water system in order to provide clean water for the people of Dapitan. This water system would later earn praise from an American engineer, Mr. H.F. Cameron, who noted Rizal's ingenuity despite the lack of resources. Rizal also made several contributions to the sciences as revealed in his correspondence with his scientist friends and professors in Europe. He explored the jungles and coasts seeking specimens of insects, plants, and other aquatic life. During his stay, his quest for knowledge was boundless, leading to him to discover some rare specimens which were named in his honor, such as Draco rizali, Apogani rizali, and Rhacophorus rizali. Rizal was actually never lonely even at exile. This was due to the fact that he was always in contact with the community through his special projects and the school. Furthermore, Rizal also came to be romantically involved with an Irish girl, Josephine Bracken. The relationship was filled with love but still encountered many numerous obstacles, including the refusal of the church to marry them. Even with that, they lived together as common-law husband and wife. By the start of 1896, Rizal was joyous for Josephine after a few months from giving birth to their child. Both Josephine and Rizal hoped and prayed for their child to be a boy, for Rizal wanted to name him after his father. Unfortunately, the child would be born premature at 8 months on March 18, 1996. Because of a practical joke played by Rizal which frightened Josephine. Seeing the baby weak and unhealthy, Rizal immediately baptized him, Francisco, and tried to save him. After 3 hours, his son died. He was burdened with sorrow, for even with his skills as a physician, he was not able to save his son. Rizal buried his child in a shady tree near their home and offered a prayer for God to bless his child's soul. That's all for my report.
Good day everyone, I am Christine Jane Gupita and I will be discussing to you the topic about Rizal and the Katipunan. This happened during the exile of Jose Rizal in Dapitan in the year 1892 to 1896.
Mula Madrid tungong Pilipinas. Kaya panahon na para magkaisang bayan.
Rizal, Andres Bonifacio.
On the night of Rizal's arrest, the kataas-taasang kagalang-galangang katipunan ng mga anak ng bayan, also known as Katipunan or KKK, was a secret Philippine Revolutionary Society founded by Andres Bonifacio and other anti-Spanish colonialism Filipinos in Manila in 1892. It was modeled on the Masonic order and its primary goal was to gain independence from Spain through a revolution. From its origins in the Tondo district of Manila, Bonifacio gradually built the Katipunan to a strength of 3,000 members. Rizal's name had been used to gather the members of the Katipunan together, and his portrait was hung in each Katipunan lodge hall, but all this was without Rizal's consent or even his knowledge. The Katipunan members who had been paying faithfully for 4 years felt that it was time that something besides collecting money was done. Their restiveness and suspicions led Andres Bonifacio, the head of the Katipunan, to resort to Rizal that he would give the Katipunan leaders more time to mature their plans. What happened on June 21, 1896? Andres Bonifacio sent a messenger to the Pitan who was Pio Valenzuela, a doctor who concealed his mission and took with him a blind man. Valenzuela informed Rizal of the plan of the Katipunan to obtain his view and approval over the idea of total separation from Spain by an armed revolution. Thus, Valenzuela and his patient appeared as on a professional visit to Rizal. But though the interview was successfully secured in this way, its results were not so satisfactory. Rizal initially approved of the resolution as he saw it patriotic, but later on, Rizal objected to Bonifacio's bold project, stating that such would be fatal and disastrous and the people might not be ready for it. Rizal stressed that the Katipunan leaders should do everything possible to prevent premature flow of native blood. Valenzuela, however, warned Rizal that the revolution will inevitably break out if the Katipunan would be discovered. What was Rizal's advice? Rizal indignantly insisted that the country came first. Education, he declared, was first necessary, and in his opinion, general enlightenment was the only road to progress. Rizal instructed Valenzuela that it would be for the best interests of the Katipunan to get first the support of the rich and influential people of Manila to strengthen their cause. He added that the Katipunan did not have enough arms and funds to support in the duration of the revolution. Rizal pointed out that the lack of knowledge in military strategy in the organization will be their clear disadvantage against the might of Spanish military and artillery. He further suggested that Antonio Luna, with his knowledge of military science and tactics, be made to direct the military operations of the revolution. Valenzuela cut short his trip and was glad to escape without anyone realizing that Rizal and he had quarreled. Bonifacio called Rizal a coward when he heard his emissary's report and enjoined Valenzuela to say nothing of his trip. But the truth leaked out and there was a falling away in Katipunan membership. There was no stopping the revolution. Bonifacio ordered his men to prepare for battle and directed them to store enough food and other supplies. Battle plans were made with the help of Emilio Jacinto, an eloquent and brave young man whose mother was a nurse and a sister of a La Liga Filipina and Masonic leader who was later shot.